हेलो, वेलकम टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑन हैप्पीनेस आफ्टर कैंसर। हम आज बात करेंगे क्या होता है जब हमारा ट्रीटमेंट खत्म हो जाता है। Usually, the patient herself thinks, and the people around her also think that अब तो treatment खत्म हो गया. Now it's time for us to go back to our original self. Unfortunately, ऐसा नहीं होता. Anybody who has been through a cancer diagnosis and then the long treatment knows कि जब वो treatment खत्म होता है, that's the difficult phase. I've often said in so many videos and so many talks that the phase that the any cancer treatment is categorically divided into two parts: during treatment and post treatment. आज हम पूछते हैं हिबा सिद्दीकी से that how do we manage that stress which happens once the treatment is finished. Hi Hiba.
Hi Nidhi. Yes, survivorship is a very, very integral aspect of cancer care or cancer experience. जब डायग्नोसिस होता है तो लोग एक फायर फाइटिंग मोड में होते हैं. They know exactly what steps to follow. But when the treatment ends, you feel very unprotected, so to say. So you feel like वो जो एक safety net होता है वो suddenly चला गया. Now I'm doing a free fall. वो harness ही हट गया. And that's when we need to realize where to step in, specifically mentally, right? Mental well-being in that phase is very important. कई बार ट्रीटमेंट के हम स्केड्यूल में हम बहुत बिजी हो जाते हैं, that we don't get enough time to sit with our feelings, process them, which for a lot of people happens जब वो ट्रीटमेंट खत्म हो जाता है. Suddenly you look back and you realize what just happened to me, और मैंने कितना कुछ जूझा है. And that's when sometimes the post-traumatic reactions happen. It's important for any individual. That's why जब हम prevention की बात करते हैं, mental well-being की, we need to keep a check. We need to understand that how exactly I am going through what I'm going through. Just because on paper मेरा treatment खत्म हो गया doesn't mean that I will not process my emotions. कुछ लोगों के लेट रिएक्शंस होते हैं, कुछ लोगों के मेंटल हेल्थ चेंजेस लॉन्ग टर्म लेवल पे आते हैं. एंड एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम द ओनली क्वेश्चंस दैट कम टू मी, जब मेरा ट्रीटमेंट होता था तो मैं बिल्कुल ठीक थी, अब क्यों मुझे ये हो रहा है? व्हाई एम आई सो अपसेट 2 years आफ्टर माय ट्रीटमेंट इज ओवर? आई शुड बी हैप्पी बट आई एम ऑलवेज सैड. एंड दैट इज such an important question that they're asking, because there is no time limit or a starting point or an end point to when you will start grieving a time period that you didn't decide to go through. And that's where you feel the loss, the feelings hit in, the fear that I can't do that again, ever. So when those anxieties happen, those anxieties sometimes are double and tripled. लोगों का जब and I'm sure Nidhi you would relate to this, because you know when I've spoken to a lot of survivors who are running groups like you, a lot of friends, they've become friends now over the years, that every time वो जो annual checkup का वक्त आता है, MRIs होते हैं, ultrasounds होते हैं, they are so uncomfortable as moments. They are very, very unpleasant. And the anxiety that leads up to it, what builds up to it, is so exhausting. I have dealt with it with people with me, both in family and outside, and it is वो सबको बहुत रैटल कर देता है. कभी कभार आपके जो साइकोलॉजिकल रिएक्शंस होते हैं, समझ ही नहीं आता कि मेरे मूड स्विंग्स क्यों हो रहे हैं, मेरा बिहेवियरल रिएक्शंस क्यों हो रहे हैं. सो व्हेन यू आर इन दैट फेज, डोंट लुक एट इट कि नाउ आई एम, मुझे अब मेंटल हेल्थ चेंजेस होंगे ही नहीं. Sometimes your mind processes it late. Sometimes your mind is not ready to deal with the trauma at that time, but it becomes ready 3 years after the treatment. शायद कोई ट्रिगर हो गया, कोई मूवी देख ली, कोई एपिसोड देख लिया. All of these changes add on to what you're feeling in that moment. Sometimes आपको अच्छा नहीं लगता कि आपके घर वाले आपके साथ कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हैं. So you want to feel like a patient again. Sometimes कुछ लोग कहते हैं मैं ठीक हो गई, तो किसी को कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता. Right? This is a very common thing that comes in now. No one cares about me. सब अपने अपने parties में जाते हैं, different जगहों पे जाते हैं, and you know nobody cares about me the way पहले तो वो मुझे juice भी लाते थे, fruits भी लाते थे. Now I'm on my own. So you're sometimes not ready to be on your own. Sometimes you're not ready to navigate life alone, क्योंकि वो dependence की आदत पड़ गई है, वो डर बैठ गया है. The insecurities have sat in. So we need to start again, the same thing that I said in the previous section, identify, accept, acknowledge. इसमें कोई कमजोरी की बात नहीं है. You're not a weak person. You're still somebody with a lot of resilience, sorry. You will cope with it, but it's a different kind of coping, different kind of expectations and understanding that you have with yourself also, you know. So I think this is something I'd like to add. And there are obviously long-term changes. There are changes around sexuality and sexual health, which can impact relationships, add conflicts, maybe for another time, maybe a longer duration that we can cover. You and I can plan something if people are comfortable with that. But so many aspects of your individuality get impacted after you are done with treatment and you're in recovery or post-recovery. So all of that is also there, and your own responsibility in being a survivor to someone who's newly diagnosed. कई बार लोग बहुत preachy हो जाते हैं, कई बार लोग बहुत controlling हो जाते हैं, डरा देते हैं लोगों को कि मेरे साथ तो इतना बुरा हुआ, तुम्हारे साथ भी यही होगा. So we need to also be responsible with our traumas and with our grief that we are carrying with us. So I feel like that's important, you know, how as survivors one sort of takes themselves forward.
Thank you, Hiba, for such wonderful session. And I'm sure हिबा सिद्दीकी को सुनने के बाद बहुत सारे लोगों को ये समझ में आ गया होगा कि अगर आपको आपका ट्रीटमेंट खत्म होने के बाद you're not feeling your normal self, it's completely okay. Give it time. I'm sure now anybody who's listening to this, please remember you'll be a much better version of what you were before. It's not important to go back to being the original me. You're a far better version of what you are. That's all. All cancer survivors, this is our message to you. Take care, stay healthy.